Hi, Ian. Today I just want to talk about what I've been reading. I'm a huge reader. With all my free time, I read more leisurely than studying because I do work all the time. So I just want to bring up what I've been reading. Not so much about, well, it kind of helps with what I see in the world, the round world. So I've read, let's see, 4 different series in the past couple months. So I try to read every single chance I get. It helps bring me out of the world I live in to another world. So basically diving out of the round world into a plane or anything other than what they tell us it is. So kind of like a book review, but not really. It's more of my view of what I'm reading and how it relates. So I'm going to start with the most recent one that I got done with. This is my series. It is The City of Ember, The People of Sparks, The Diamond of Darkhold, and The Prophet of Youngwood. That's not really the order. Anyways, the order's on the books. It tells you which one's number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Anyways. I saw the movie, The City of Ember, like a year ago. So I bought the books, and it took me until now to actually get to them. Anyways, it's about basically post-apocalyptic. And these people built an underground world to survive another world war. And they built a huge underground city. I think when they left, it held over 400 some people. And they had to figure out how to get out. And when they got out, they didn't know anything. But they met another group of people that actually survived the apocalypse on the outside. Not really apocalypse, more of just the world war, but whatever. Everything turned to shit and they had to start over. So, reading that kind of reminds me of what starting over would be like. I'm not a big fond of what we're living in now. I graduated college, 4-year degree in business management and accounting. So I'm in debt up to my ears. And they don't tell you about that. They're like, oh, you get a job immediately. You can pay off your loan so easily. Yeah, no, you don't. I'm going to be in debt like a mortgage for 20, 30 years to pay 4 years of college off. Especially when they want to hire people and not pay them for their education. So, part of that group, which is great. So, I enjoyed reading this because it kind of reminded me that even if something happens, it's really not the end of the world. And it could start over and it could be better. And this underground city had electricity. This person or this group of people literally built a huge underground city that we supposedly discovered here are underground cities that can hold thousands of people. Which I don't know if that happened already or if it's going to happen. So I liked reading that because it's just more of hope after whatever the inevitable is, because I don't see how this could go anywhere without hitting ground first and then going up. So I liked that, and finishing that recently was nice. Very easy reading too. It's like 8th grade reading, maybe even 6th grade reading. It's really nice, so you breeze right through it. And I would say it's relaxing. Nobody really struggled that hard, and just pretty much watching like children knowing what the sun and the moon is, because since they were underground, they didn't know what that was, and it was so spectacular to them. And grass, just the stuff we are so used to every day, just seeing and not really caring, just mowing it over and blowing methane in the air every time we mow. So they enjoyed the silver moon and the bright warm sun and the soft grass. Stuff we take advantage of every day of Earth. So Earth and sea, because Earth is only land, as we know, not the whole ball. It's not called Earth. We live on Earth and sea. So when the people came out, because they were underground for, I think, 240 years or something. So when they came out, multiple generations have lived and died under there. And a few kids figured out the passage on getting out. And you kind of watch human greed and selfishness and selflessness going on in there. And there's also the book about the prophet, which was someone that happened, I think, 40 or 50 years before it actually occurred, that they had to go underground to try to save humanity, because they really thought all of life was going to get blown up. So that was really nice to read. I like it. I just wanted to make a video and talk about my books. So the other set that I finished prior to the City of Ember was the Maze Runner. This one. Let's see. It's called Maze Runner, Scorch Trials, Death Cure, and Kill Order. I love reading series or books that are huge because I like the story to entertain me for a month or two, because I read quite fast, so I don't want a book that ends in a week or two. But I mean, maybe I'll get a few of them and read a whole bunch of short stories within a month and read 4 or 5 books, which I think is going to be my next one. My next one's going to be 1984, which everyone tells me how depressing it is, but I mean, if you really think about it, it's probably telling us what's going to happen. So that one's on my list to read too. Anyways, I haven't got that far. I like The Maze Runner because it's kind of like, the first movie was pretty true to the book. The second movie was not at all. It literally pissed me off on how not close it was. It was pretty bad, like really, really bad. It was like a zombie movie. It's not what the books are, at all. I was so mad, so mad. I was watching the movie angry the whole time, like nothing follows, nothing. Maybe the characters' names were the same. Let's put it that way. The characters were the same. Other than that, nothing. So, if you like the first movie, you're going to have to read the books, because the second movie totally bombed. It was stupid. Anyways, back to the books on why I want to make a video about them. The first book was about a bunch of kids thrown into this world that was faked for them. It was a big maze on the outside, but the inside was a whole bunch of grass, and they grew their own food. They had trees. They had animals. I don't think they showed most of this in the movie. It's all in the book. They had the fake sky going on. It was a huge hologram, and at the end of the book, they had the sky turn gray. Like, they never really saw a sun or a moon, but they remembered certain things to survive, but not, like, they didn't remember their name for a while. They couldn't remember who their family were, where they came from, why they were there, if there's another world out there. They took a lot from them. It was a huge experiment, which is pretty terrible, but I mean, if you think about it, aren't we in one now? So, back to the book. They had creatures on the outside of their little containment, which was probably like a football field, a couple, I don't know, large enough that held about, the movie only showed like 30 boys, but I think it was like 50 or 100. I don't remember. It was kind of a lot of people, a lot more in the books than they like to show because it's too many actors and all that stuff. So they were basically being videoed the whole time, being tested on how curious the human race is. And I haven't read the whole Flat Earth Clues from Mark Sargent, but I read a couple of them and I saw his video about the mice that will walk around their cage and then just accept it, and how the human race is different, and how they'll actually go out and wonder why they are trapped. They find a fence, they're going to figure it out. Or not figure it out. Wonder why until they do. So that's kind of how the Maze Runner was. They threw these boys in there, and they didn't know what was going on. And then they had these, like, 4 or 5 boys would run out into the maze every single day, because these doors to the maze would close every night, and that's when the creatures were out there, which is weird. Anyways, so if you get locked out, you die, is kind of how they put it off. So with their whole hologram sky going on day and night, and have these doors open and close during the dawn and the evening, and having these creatures out there, they literally had to accept that they're going to have to fight to live. And the test was basically survival of the fittest, which is pretty terrible. Because, I mean, it's more of luck than fittest for that. Anyways, all these boys had to go out into the maze. They had to leave behind the only home they knew at that point. And the trials had been going on for like 2 years. So they run out there, and then a few of them died. 10, 15 of them die, fighting off to make sure the ones, because they didn't want to live in their confinement anymore. And pretty much the trial had to end. The sky turned gray. They weren't getting supplies like they were, and so they had to choose. They had to choose stay there and slowly dwindle, or fight to survive, which is pretty terrible, but they were being tested. So, anyways, they fought these creatures. A few of them got out. They ran through, found out they were tested. Really pissed. Because they were tested severely. They were all teenage boys, so then they got out, and they were, surprise, rescued by some people that were somehow better than the people that were testing them. It turned out to be a lie. Another test, which the second movie shows you that they escape somewhere. They don't. It's another test, and they knew it was another test. And they had to run around the desert and survive and make it to the next checkpoint and get some cure. That's why they call it the Scorch trials. They infected them, supposedly, with the zombie virus. They call it something else, but anyways, that's what it looks like. Try to make it through. And, anyways, the movie doesn't show that. They show they escape and then run from zombies, which is not true. It was more of just personal tests and can they survive out in the desert and make it to checkpoint 2 and then somehow get a cure. So yeah, that was pretty sad how the movie turned out to shit. But anyways, waiting for the next one. But then now I heard that the actor was severely injured. So I wonder how that went. He was ran over by a truck or something. I heard that a few days ago. It freaked me out. So that's pretty sad. So I don't know if we'll get a third movie. Anyways, don't watch the fucking movies. Read the books. So, I'm not going to talk about the next few. Because, I mean, I've already gone on about this for like 10 minutes. So, basically, I just want to talk about the dome and being in a trial and being tested multiple times and try to cure a virus. It's all about some brain virus that looks like a zombie problem in the movies. And then, in the end, basically, spoiler alert, in the end, well, at the beginning, they try to tell you that it's some sun flares infected the whole world, and that's how zombies started. In the end, you find out, no, it's the fucking government shooting people with darts and infecting them. So, I wouldn't be surprised that was happening in our life. Like, AIDS, flu shots, what is it, like 25 vaccines before you're 12 situation going on. All by consent, obviously, right now. It's for your own good. Then they show one kid with measles that died because the parents didn't want to give them shots as kids. And all of a sudden, that's their story for vaccinations. Like, vaccinate your kids or they'll die of measles. Like, really? That's not common. But they like to show you that on the news to make sure you're vaccinated. And make sure your free flu shot every single year is healthy. So, that's that set about the globe. The one before that, huge production right now. Hunger Games. Yay. That was a pretty good series, I guess. Till, in the end, you find out she's just fucking crazy because of the shit she had to go through. Welcome to the globe. Anyways, I liked this because it's basically like, give us your children, put their names in a pot, and we will draw them out and selectively kill them in front of you on national television. Isn't that kind of like what's going on with the poverty areas where people are getting shot all the time and then broadcasted on the media? It's kind of what it feels like. Instead of, we are in the game, all of us, and it's just some of us get shot and die, and then we broadcast them and then their families all over television for days and weeks on end. Because people seem to thrive off of other people's misery, which is kind of sad that this whole story's based on that. We're going to put you in this game and you're going to, only one can win, so all the other children have to die. You get to kill each other for it. But then in the end, they kind of rebel and take down the city. But then they all vote to kill children again. Not their family, but the evil, I don't know what you would call those people. The evil city rulers? I don't know. The freaking panel that plays these games. They were all freaking traumatized, and they wanted to put these very bad people who let the games play on, put their children in, because it's not like their children, they might deserve it, but not their kids, and so that turned out terrible. And then in the end, another spoiler alert, whatever, you can turn it off if you don't want to know, she freaking goes crazy. I mean, the main character, of course you would. You have to live through these trials twice, then go into a civil war, and then watch your own family die, and then put other kids up to die again. Even though you just lived through that and you condemned other children. Of course you'd be nuts to do that. And then she literally is insane and by herself. Wonderful ending. But I mean, a more realistic one. Really. So, that review's a little slow. Or I mean, a little short. But, I mean, the third movie's coming out anyway. So most people seen the first and second one where she goes in the first time, then she goes in the second time, and then third book's the Civil War, and then it's all over, and not to say it was any better than where it was. The games are supposedly ending, but I mean, they started up another one. Terrible. Terrible. And then another popular series that I had to read. Not had to, I wanted to read it. Because books are always better than movies. Deal with it. Read the fucking books. Divergent, Insurgent, Allegiant, and 4. 4 is a prequel, which I didn't know, and it pissed me off. So, I hate prequels. I hate them. So, any series from now on, just like The Maze Runner. The Kill Order, that's a prequel too. I hate prequels. Other people might not, but I do. Drives me nuts. I hate reading a whole story and then going back to the beginning instead of just reading the fucking beginning. So, anyways, I like Divergent because it's kind of like another experiment where they put people into a world, and after a few generations, you don't even know that it's fake. So, the Divergent series is pretty cool, and at least the books are. I'm waiting for the third movie to come out, like for free on TV, because I don't go to the movie theater. That's ridiculous. So, the previews look like they're on fucking Mars. They're not. They come out of their little world in the third book and go to like some Denver airport or something. Not fucking Mars, with spaceships and space guns and bright red sand everywhere. I don't know. The trailer looked really weird. Anyways, Why I liked them is because they actually took people and divided them into basically personalities, trying to make cooperation work by secluding people. It's like, since you don't want to tell the truth, you don't go near them, and then everybody just fights with each other all the time because nobody can get along because they never really were brought up to fucking deal with each other. Like, calm down and deal with it. Everyone's different. And then they seclude everyone and they wonder why there's like unrest in their city. But then they have like these magic medicine where you tell the truth or turn you into a military zombie or basically an injected heroin. What was the other one? Memory serum where they forget their memories, and I think there's another one, but anyways, it's pretty freaking nuts. We're just gonna inject you with stuff. Wow. But anyways, the reason why I like the books is they came out of their little world, because like humans, we are curious when we see a wall. And what was it in the books? The doors were locked from the outside. And then after a while, I started thinking, like, why, if we're so worried about people on the outside, where are the locks on the outside? We're locked in. We're not protecting ourselves from the outside. We're locked in. So they finally figured that one out after the first two books. And the third book, they actually go on the outside and figure out that they were an experiment and trying to make genetically pure people, because they were messing with genetics, which is happening now. But the books go on about basically they want to know the truth and where they came from and why this was happening and how genetically pure people are any better because they were labeled divergent as the genetically pure. It means you're not classified as easily as everyone else. It's like, wow. If that was special today. But it seems like the special people are the ones who can be put in boxes. So anyways, that series was good. The ending was extremely sad and pissed me off a lot. It made me not want to keep reading. I wanted to stop reading because I was so mad. Cause I was like, I didn't want a bad ending, but oh well. Shit happens. People die. So I just wanted to bring up what I've been reading, because I do watch Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, which is one of my faves, which is nice because it introduces me to other people, and I don't have a lot of time to sit and search on YouTube on other videos that I want to watch, and because a lot of stuff that pops up on YouTube is a bunch of bullshit, and so it's kind of nice to find the ones that actually know what they're talking about, I guess. So, I like to watch that. Anyway, she brought up how the different movies and books that are out now, which is like The Divergent, The Maze Runner, and Hunger Games, I think is what she brought up. So, I've read all that shit in the last couple months. I mean, it's not the only stuff I read. I read, like, the Percy Jackson stuff, where it's all about these gods and god children saving the world, and oh, God. I don't know. I've read, like, 100 books this year. It's kind of insane. Anyways, my next set is, Lord of the Rings. Woohoo! I just read The Hobbit first. Just not gonna wait to read that last and call it a prequel. Fuck that. So, anyways, I read The Hobbit first, and I'm now on starting of The Lord of the Rings. Just, I like my fantasy stuff, you know, how people are different cultures, and who knows, that might be a flat earth too on their little world over there. So, it's going nicely. Anyways, I kind of like it. I mean, adventures, gold, dragons, a little out there for me, but oh well. I mean, entertainment, it's kind of what books are. Instead of being programmed by the TV, I can just read and take my own interpretation off of it and basically just get better at reading. make my skill a little bit better. But I just wanted to talk about my books and how it does kind of show the world that we live in small pieces, and everything I read, like the Maze Runner was the experiments, and Hunger Games is we take your children and kill them on national television, and Divergent is the curiosity of the human race and trying to get the best of what we are, and the City of Ember is hope on coming out of anything that might happen. But I mean, we should stick people underground now in the situation we're living in now. No one wants to fucking live this. I mean, extremely depressing. Really. My life's extremely depressing. So, just wanted to share what I read and how it doesn't shape my view of the world, but it does basically put it in perspective on what it is. So if it's not a globe and it's something better, something more magical than gravity, and made for us instead of us just popping out of, what do they call it, the swamp, rock swamp, all of a sudden into creatures and monkeys and people. Just kind of weird. So, yeah. So I just want to talk about my books and how I relate them to life, and how it seems like everything I read, you can see a part of that happening now. It does take a lot of time to read all of it and put it in perspective, but it's nice, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I don't know how Lord of the Rings is going to relate to this life, but we'll see. It might have something hidden in there. So, well, that's all I wanted to say. Good night.